All right. I've finished watching Dana Ashlie, and I've been taking notes here. And I want to bring you to the 1 minute. And just hang on here. One thing that stood out here. 7 minute and 6 second mark. That's where I stopped at 7:06. So I'm getting to the place that the Lord showed me. I'd just like to say off the top here that with all these events coming in October, November, December, with the arrests, persecutions, and beheadings, we could see a lot of this take place before the month of April in 2021. As most of you know, in 1988, when I was living in Bangs, Texas, it was a February morning, the sun was just coming up, and I saw, the Lord took me out into 7 open visions. Past, present, and future were one timeline. I was seeing myself in this video screen, and I was also had full spiritual awareness in the vision. And in the vision, I had just met my wife. We went down to Bangs, Texas in the vision. And that's where I went down to one of David Terrell's revival. And I remember standing in their tabernacle and in the prayer line, and when it came time, the man of God, David Terrell, I said, wait right there. And he went into the back room and he came out with the a set of his clothes. And he said, go in the back room and get changed and leave your old clothes there. You won't need them anymore. Right. So I came back out. I was standing in the front on the podium. I remember seeing the man of God. He went and he picked up one of his favorite staffs and he placed the staff in my right hand. And I could see in his eyes that God was doing something. It was the silence that spoke the loudest. And the word of the Lord came to this man of God, and he said, it's imperative that you return back to your own country within the next 24 hours. And I don't know how I got to Port Angeles outside of Los Angeles. And I just remember that's where the vision started. And I was waiting for the ferry to go to Victoria, BC. And in the visions, I was fully spiritually aware. I had full understanding of all things. And the fear on the faces of the people, now I can understand where that fear was, the reason behind it, by understanding what Dana Ashlie was bringing out, and Dana Cornerstone bringing out, and others. So we're leading up to this event. But the thing that I want to share with you now is this point in the video that Dana Cornerstone talks about this rock hitting the Pacific. And if you remember, we first heard about this through Prophet Ephraim Rodriguez 4 or 5 years ago. He was showing an asteroid that would hit Puerto Rico, would hit the Puerto Rico Trench. And it would happen at 2 o'clock in the morning, Puerto Rico time. And that by 5 o'clock in the morning, that 1,000-foot wave would hit southern Florida. Southern Florida would be gone. So I checked into the full moon on the 31st. There will be a full moon on the 31st that will take place. That's a confirmation. And anyway, I researched it more, and this is the message. And I wanted to take it for you to take it to the Lord. The Lord, God has given signs in the heavens to tell us what time it is. And that the moon that Augusto saw, where he saw the asteroid hit Puerto Rico, it is a sign from God, this full moon. So when I researched it, and this is what I'm bringing forth, that this full moon will reach full illumination at 10:51 a.m. East Coast time. In other words, could the Lord be saying that the tsunami that's going to hit the east coast of America will happen in and around 10:51 a.m. For the water to come up, from to hit the south coast and go up to the east coast, could be it's close. It's very close. It could be an hour either way. And this will be the death toll of the bell. And this was revealed to another brother by the name of Art Beekman. The Lord showed him this back when we were walking with the cross in America, that there would be a man and a system that would rise up, and where the spirit of Antichrist would begin to sweep across the land, right? And so I've been waiting a lot of years for what the Lord showed me. For a full year after the Lord gave me the 7 open visions, I had to ask Him to take these visions away, because I could not handle the death that I saw on the faces of 3 million people on the West Coast. I felt their pain. I felt their anger. I've seen every face individually and collectively. I saw those Christians who were furious, raising their fist like this and cursing God out as they were dying, because they never got raptured out. They weren't ready to face death. They were afraid for their lives. So I look at, from the time that we come to October 31st, the death toll of the bell will sound. I forget the count, what Ephraim Rodriguez, what he saw, but he saw that there will be tens of millions of people will die in the Mediterranean area, and I think it was around 26 million that would die on the east coast of America by this tsunami wave that will be several hundred feet tall, destroying New York City, other places. And so this is really the Great Reset. They kick off of it. And one thing that really touched me yesterday when Johnny and I were on the mountain, I seen the word Ephraim, or the name Ephraim Rodriguez, go through my mind, and I did a search on it, and I came across the video where he was talking about this guy that was his friend that, that turned on him. But as I was listening to this video that I can't find now, I tried to research it, find it, I couldn't find it, I can't find it now. He said expressly that the harvest of souls would begin after the asteroid impacts Puerto Rico. This 12-point quake is a sign from the Most High. He's coming to judge the world in righteousness. So, I believe what Dana Ashlie was saying. I fully confirm it. And I tell you what, my heart is getting heavy. Because I remember when I was standing in Port Angeles, my heart was heavy in the visions. I knew what was coming. And the Lord sent me back to the West Coast to bring the final warning of the destruction of the entire West Coast. So it's coming. And so this, by connecting all the dots, all that you see here, what Dana Coverstone was saying and Dana Ashlie was saying, it confirms the signs, the many signs that I was shown in the 7 open visions, that the destruction of the west coast of North America may well be in fact in April of 2021. In the visions, I could still travel. I don't know whether someone from David Terrell's people drove me to LA. I don't know. I don't know whether I flew. I didn't see nothing. I just woke up standing in Port Angeles. And then it was 5 o'clock in the morning. I knew that by the Holy Spirit. It was still dark. And yet I saw the early rays of the sun rise up over the Pacific. Something to do with Nibiru. I didn't know about all this back in 1981. So if you look at what's happening now with the second lockdown coming, if you look at all this stuff, it tells me one thing, that they're trying to get the New World Order established as much as they can before Puerto Rico is hit. Because after that, it's going to be nothing but destruction upon destruction worldwide. So they're doing what they can to keep us locked into our homes so they can get their assets in place. And so in the visions that I knew that I was still around in the month of April, if it is going to be 2021, I was still around. And I saw the evacuation of Vancouver Island. The people never made it any further than the mainland when the earthquake came. That God gave everyone time to flee the West Coast. Not everyone listened, but I did see a convoy of over 10,000 vehicles leave the east side of Surrey, British Columbia. They were fully ready, fully prepared for deployment. And the Lord showed me an overview of this 50-mile convoy of over 10,000 vehicles. Right in the middle, he took me in on a zoom, and I saw approximately a 5-mile stretch of transport trucks, fully loaded, fully prepared, heading up toward the northern part of British Columbia. This is where this exodus was going. That's why I've named my videos Exodus 2 Live, because there is going to be an exodus of souls that will escape the judgment on the West Coast, and that God has a specific place where He's going to look after it. And I'm just sitting back here, allowing all this stuff to sink in, and I have to say, I believe it to be true. Every jot and tittle of what's been unveiled, through Dana and through Dana Coverstone. And we have to prepare our hearts not to fear death when it comes. Why that I was still alive, I don't know. I know after the visions, the Lord made a way to fly me back into the United States. I was being hunted, and I remember I got back to, he took me back to Bangs, Texas, and in a very expensive jet, and the owner of the jet threw me the keys to this jet, and he walked away. And I remember seeing David Terrell, God's prophet to the world, and I gave him the keys to the jet, to this $30 million jet, and also had a large stash of cash that still had a little bit of value. I knew by the Spirit that Canada was at 600% hyperinflation, so all the pieces confirm that. The evidence is overwhelming that April 2021